The irresistible Harry Kane haunts Manchester City, and the Spurs reignite the championship battle. We've seen it before from Antonio Conte, the clenched fists, the war cry, the bulging veins, the antics of football's most gifted madman celebrating a winning goal. At Chelsea, this routine was regular as he drove them to the Premier League, and Tottenham are chasing other ambition. But a TV montage depicting a title race might just end up featuring crazed images of Conte again, should Liverpool overhaul Manchester City and snatch this season's championship. As Conte blew a gasket, the title race blew open. The scenes came at the end of an epic game, in the 5th of 9-minute stoppage time, as Harry Kane capped an exceptional performance by heading past Ederson for 3-2. Kane, almost inevitably, spent the 99 minutes reminding Pep Guardiola what he might have had if he had been able to pull off a bid to sign the England captain last summer. Also involved in his winner were Spurs' other standout players, Kulusevski, making a sparkling debut after arriving on loan from Juventus, and that hardy perennial Son Heung-min. Son slipped Kulusevski clear on the right and Kulusevski bent a wonderful cross to the far post ere Kane rose above Kyle Walker to score his second superb goal of the game. Adding to City's shock was the fact they had equalized only 3 minutes previously, when Sergio Romero handled Bernardo Silva's center and after VAR brought his attention to the offense, Anthony Taylor signaled a penalty, which Riyad Mahrez, City's substitute, whipped home beautifully. Conte, with his deep-lying back three, positional detail, and dynamic, cleverly angled counterattacks has a style that troubles Guardiola, and defeated City twice when leading Chelsea to the 2016-17 title. This was another triumph for the Italian whose side, despite had less than 30% possession, but most of the game's most dangerous situation. And, of course, they also had Kane, as well as his favorite accomplice, Son. The pair conspired in the 59th minute when Kane, whose link play was as brilliant as his box play, came short, collected and swept a pass towards the Korean. Rúben Dias made his second big error of the game, with a weak clearing header, and Ryan Sessegnon found Son. His chip into the box was delightful and Kane arrived between Aymeric Laporte and João Cancelo, and without breaking stride caught the ball on the half-volley to power it past Ederson. Against Sporting Lisbon, on Tuesday, City played football from heaven but had plenty mortal moments here, and these involved their most deified players. Dias got his timing completely wrong for Tottenham's opener and, as their team worked to get back in the game, Kevin De Bruyne and Silva struggled to have an impact on the play. Bernardo was Guardiola's false 9 and De Bruyne his number 10, and the pair's anonymity, for the first half hour, was also a reflection of how well Tottenham closed up the middle of the pitch. Eric Dier, returning from injury, was the key tactically, thanks to his positioning, judgment with offsides and smartness when playing the ball out. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg had one of his warrior days, and Kane, dropping off to be the pivot for counterattacks, made sporadic, but sublime, intervention. Kulusevski's opener, after 3 minutes, hinged on Kane. Playing from the back, Spurs switched from their right side to their left, from where Ben Davies rolled a pass into Kane, who was coming short. Kane swiveled and, first time, swept the ball round the corner and inside Dias, who appeared to have lost his bearing. The Portuguese was stepping out and claiming offside, but was a couple of yards behind the rest of the back line and too late to catch out Son, who ran on to Kane's pass and drove into City's box. He drew Ederson out and, switching on to his right foot, laid the ball back to Kulusevski, who was arriving on the far side of the box. The goal was open, but Kulusevski was 18 yards out, with Cancelo closing, and still had a little to do. His finish, though, passed smoothly into City's unprotected net, epitomized class. The 21-year-old, born in Stockholm to Macedonian parents, cites as his role model Zlatan Ibrahimovic, yet he is a less muscular but more mobile player. His movement was an asset as Spurs unsettled their opponents with quick, well-worked breakaways, where the man in possession always had a runner somewhere outside him. Conte is a master at choreographing these, and both Kulusevski and his other January signing, Rodrigo Bentancur, with his perceptive use of possession, should prove assets as he develops his team. Of course, Conte wanted even more from the transfer window, having hoped to strengthen his side in the wide areas, and it was via these that City played their way back to term. The sharpness and interplay of Cancelo and Raheem Sterling tortured Emerson Royal, while Phil Foden was often a step ahead of Ryan Sessegnon, and, arriving from midfield, Ilkay Gundogan had the guile to exploit gaps they created. Cancelo flitted inside Kulusevski and cut past Emerson to curl close, and Gundogan, with nimble feet, made himself space in the box to shoot, bending a lovely effort onto the post. From a corner, played to the edge of the box, Gundogan chested down and Cancelo connected well, but his shot, off the outside of his boot, arced just wide. City's in-form trio combined for the equalizer. Cancelo exchanged passes with Rodri before playing to Sterling who, from outside the box, struck a right-footed shot with a looping trajectory that dipped awkwardly in front of Hugo Lloris. De Bruyne was running in to make the situation even more attached, but a goalkeeper of Lloris's status and experience should still have held it. Instead, he managed only a limp-armed parry, pushing the ball straight to Gundogan, who smacked it home. For the rest of the period, City exerted the control they are used to having in-game. But it slipped away again after halftime and, once more, their issue was dealing with counterattacks, knitted around Kane. In the 53rd minute, Kane retained possession under pressure and in midfield and turned to dig out a fabulous pass to release Son. Not for the first time, what saved City was Walker's recovery pace. Walker sprinting back to force Son to check inside and onto his left foot, with which he couldn't generate the power to beat Ederson. Yet Spurs' next counter ended with Kane's high-class finish, and in the 73rd minute their captain seemed to have made it 3-1, controlling when Kulusevski's cross flicked off Cancelo before tucking a shot past Ederson. VAR, however, showed Kulusevski to have been offside when he ran onto Davies' diagonal pass.